Happy Monday lunchtime, crew, and welcome to another edition of the Emotions Room. A lot to talk about. Obviously, England's result last night. Bellingham, what a player, really showing his levels, to be honest. And I say that with kind of my head down because I wasn't too convinced with Bellingham. I kind of thought he was a burst on the scene type of player, had a great first season at Real Madrid, but is he some player, especially for his age, the maturity he shows, the way he's got that attitude about him, doesn't he? He's got that line where it's like, is it cocky or is it just what's
Yeah,
needed?
yeah.
Is it just what's needed at this level to drag a country like England to their second World Cup? And I mean, I haven't said a bad word about Bellingham here. I'm kind of just sharing my inner thoughts of Bellingham. But unbelievable from Jude Bellingham. Whoever stayed up to watch that, congratulations for doing it because it seemed like a fantastic game. The minute it changed to 2 a.m., that was me checked out. We're
Yeah.
obviously going to talk Brazil and Haaland, another player who has a different type of kind of cockiness, but I mean, he's just something else. I mean,
The machine,
Norway,
innit?
Norway never been to a quarter-final, and I
Mm.
mean, we talk about Maradona dragging his team to a World Cup all those years ago. I mean, Haaland's on par with that, isn't he? I mean, dragging
Yeah.
a Norway like this, I mean, single-handedly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to disrespect Norway and their players, but Haaland is just single-handedly. I mean, his second goal,
Lovely goal,
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
just picked up the ball, touched with one foot, put it out with his other foot. I mean, left foot, right foot, bang, bottom corner. I mean, Gabriel, talk
But it's
about taking.
against a quality keeper as well.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this World Cup, I have to say, obviously, I don't know how many World Cups I've watched now since I've been alive, but I have to say this has thoroughly been one of my favorite World Cups just because, I mean, the open 2 minutes 20 of this show is talking about players like Bellingham, players like Haaland, and I love that, right? That brings back
Mm.
memories of players like the Brazilian Ronaldo R9, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, these type of players kind of showing up to the World Cup and showing us how
Mm.
special they can
Stepping
be.
up. Yeah.
And I remember us having a conversation, Dan. Are like single players in the game gone? I've kind of
Mm.
articulated that wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say. You know them
Yeah.
special
Yeah. Individual
talent,
brilliance and
individual
talents.
brilliance.
Yeah.
Has that gone from the game?
Mm.
No,
Mm.
it hasn't. And the World Cup has showed us that it hasn't. And I'm
Yeah.
glad because I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's gone a little bit from club football.
Yeah.
It really has.
It
And
has.
I mean, what a special moment in international football. This is like there's so much individual brilliance.
Yeah.
Brazil out, and because of Haaland's, amazing play. We're also going to touch base on Portugal, Spain. Massive game
Big
tonight.
game. Big game.
A game of midfields, a game of who wants it more, a game of the old versus new. It's just a game of the empires. If you know your history, it's huge tonight. And finally, of course, we're going to touch base on Manchester United. Rumours last night of the Edison deal falling through, but Manchester United apparently kind of coming out today and saying that we just need to do a second medical here. It was put
Yeah.
on pause because of him getting called to the World Cup. So it's not the end of
Yeah.
the world. We're not calling it quits on the deal. But that was kind of the rumblings last night that the deal could be off.
Yeah.
We've obviously lost out on Mateus Fernandez. We've lost out on Tonali. We now apparently Chouameni, Scott, Somerville. I mean, are we fucking getting anyone? Is that just me throwing my toys out of the pram a bit? Just be patient with Ineos. We're kind of going to touch. I mean, it's kind of what we spoke about last time, Dan. Nothing's improved on the Manchester United front, and I really hope they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But how are you, Dan? Sorry, that was a long ass intro. How are you feeling? Did you stay up and watch the game last night?
Yeah, well, I tried to, like you've just said there, I sort of was giving in to. I think I would have been all right if it was 1 o'clock. I was hoping they were going to change it to 7, that there was rumoured to do, but they stuck to the guns, because I think it meant that they would have to change the Brazil game as well. They'd have to change the time for that game as well. So I think they've decided against that. So they stuck with 1 a.m. But we always knew it was going to be delayed because of the weather and stuff. So 2 a.m. kickoff, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to stay awake for that. So I did obviously stay awake from the start, the kickoff, but then I remember falling asleep, then waking back up, and it was like 2-1. I was like, what? I felt like I was only asleep for 10 minutes, and it was 2-1 when I woke up. Oh, Jesus. I just woke up just as England got the penalty for Kane's to make it 3-1.
I'll tell you what, they needed that, though, didn't they? They
needed that.
They had just got the red card, right? And
yeah.
Mexico could have...
Tough team, Mexico.
Yeah. They are, mate. I mean, I'm shocked they lost, I'll be honest. And I'm shocked they conceded 3 goals, and that's a testament to England, to be honest. And Tuchel, he's gotten a lot of his critics not taking certain players and style of play, but he's quietly just winning these games in the background.
I've been saying if we, and I say we, I'm not everybody's England fan, but if we got to the final, I've always said that I sort of back Tuchel to get him over the line. I'm not saying that we'll get to the final, but I think if we get to the final, purely because I think I've not been overly impressed by Tuchel, if I'm honest, but I still think there's something there where Southgate failed and was too reserved and too sort of risk averse. I think Tuchel will do what it takes to try and win the game in any position that we're in. So I think if we went 1-0 ahead, which the likelihood is if we were to get to the final, it will be France, I would imagine. So if it is France, it's going to be a tough game anyway. But if you have to go 1 goal ahead, I'm sure Tuchel isn't just going to shut up shop and say, that's it, let's try and defend for the next 80 minutes. I think he goes for it and tries to gets the second and maybe even the third. So that's what Southgate wouldn't have done. So yeah, I've always said that I think I'd trust him to get us over the line, as in him as a coach. Again, never trust Southgate, and he proved not to do that. But I think Tuchel's a bit more positive in that sense. But I haven't, overall, he's been iffy here and there, I must admit. I thought I'd see England play a little bit better than they have done. There's been moments here and there that they've looked good, but I've been a little bit underwhelmed by him, if I'm honest. But his substitution's been okay. He's very positive with his substitution, so that does make a difference as well.
I mean, for me, you don't need to play well, you need to win.
You do, yeah. Especially in the knockout stages.
I know that takes you to a certain point. There is going to be a team you're going to come up against, and if you don't play well, you ain't winning, right?
This is the problem.
You need to have the fundamentals there. So I hear your point. But in knockout football, man, one-off game, anything can happen. I remember coming up against that it's not this France team, but the beginning of this France team in 2016 when Deschamps took over in the Euros. And they looked great in that tournament, right? They had prime Pogba, Griezmann. They were the favourites. It was in France, and we struggled to win a game in normal time up until the final, Portugal. We were terrible in that tournament. We didn't win a game in the group stage. We drew all our games. We went through as a third-place team. And to cut the long story short, we won in the final with Ronaldo getting injured because Payet, another prime player, prime Payet, injured Ronaldo. And we won. We won the tournament. So what I'm saying is England are a better team than that. Granted, France might be a better version of themselves as well. But I'm starting to get a little worried here that England are kind of growing into the tournament. This could be a double whammy for me. Arsenal winning the Premier League, England winning the World Cup. This could be the worst summer of my footballing life. And those whoever's watching thinking, I just nothing against England. Listen, practically born and bred
I'm
here.
I'm going to say England winning, would it be that bad? Would it be so bad?
It's given me a lot, right? But I'm just
surely not on the same level as Arsenal in the league. Surely
it's not. No, but it's one of those for me. I think Portugal have had enough big wars with England and been disrespected enough by the English media. Because English media have that vibe to them. They can come up against certain teams, Dan, and they just dismiss them.
Yeah,
they just dismiss
them. They're horrible
in
general. And to pick up on your point with Bellingham, it's been like that with Bellingham as well.
Well, it's so funny, yeah, and you've kind of put me to the next point. It's so funny because Tuchel's mother, I've kind of clicked off the screen here. Hopefully you can still see me and hear me. I didn't have time to kind of screenshot this and add this to the screen, but I don't know if you remember this, but England manager Thomas Tuchel previously stated that his own mother, Gabrielle, finds Jude Bellingham fiery on the pitch temper to be a bit repulsive when watching on television. While Tuchel praised the midfielder's passion and drive, he admitted this temper, which can include aggressive outbursts towards referees, needs to be properly channeled. The point is, I mean, Bellingham's bringing him out of the flipping. I mean, he's saving Tuchel at the moment. We've just sung Tuchel's praises, but you take Bellingham out of this team, and we're not singing Tuchel's praises anymore. You know what I mean? So he's been a huge part, Bellingham, and it's funny how his mother had a lot to say about Bellingham and his attitude, and we said it at the top of the show. I think his attitude's just right. I'd hate it coming up against Portugal.
Yeah, he's borderline into it, I'd say.
But Bruno gets a lot of stick for his attitude and his mannerisms on the pitch. And I think it's what makes him a great player. And
yeah,
I'm going to say this about...
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm going to say this about Bruno, but Bruno hasn't shown up to the tournament, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that, and Bellingham has. Mm-hmm. And if Bruno shows up to the tournament, it needs to be tonight. Otherwise, he's not going to show up at all. But back to Bellingham. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And, just quickly before we move on from England, how are you looking? How do you feel about Brazil before we talk about England, Norway, and you giving a quick prediction about that? I know you've got a soft spot for Brazil. How are you feeling about Brazil and their performance? I mean, I saw what's that? Endrick.
Yeah.
Vinicius put a wonderful ball in for him, didn't he? And have you seen a Brazilian with a first touch like that before?
Yeah, I didn't catch the full entirety of the game, so I did have to catch up on some of it with highlights as well. But looking back, they had a lot of chances, Brazil. They've only got themselves to blame. Now, I haven't been impressed with Brazil as anybody else has over the years because they've lost their identity. I think it might have been yourself, might have even mentioned becoming a bit too European. And I think a lot of that's to do with probably the players leaving Brazil too early and trying to get that money quickly and going to like Italy and going to Spain and going to England and stuff like that, trying to get the career going very quickly. Whereas I felt players of the past would probably stay a little bit longer at like Sao Paulo's, for example, and places like that. And
you're right.
Really learn their craft a bit longer and keep that sort of sambaisms, all that sort of beach football, samba, tiki-taka stuff, all the sort of like flair seems to have gone. And that's going back to your comments earlier about that individual sort of brilliance and stuff. That's what you'd get with Brazil. It was individuals showcasing their brilliance all together. It wasn't particularly almost
was. It's so true.
High tactics and massive sort of team play. It was like Roberto Carlos could do something special. Cafu could do something special. Rivaldo might turn up. Ronaldinho might do something like lobbing David Seaman. All these things were happening in their own rights. And we've lost that now. And I think this is where you said about... Go on, sorry.
Is that just the golden generation? We label a lot of countries. We label a lot of the countries, right? Golden generation. Oh, that's it. Yeah. And I find it quite disrespectful because you're basically saying every other team they've had been pants, right? Now, I get Brazil's won 5 World Cups, so maybe that's why we can't do that to them. But is that their golden generation?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because obviously I'm not old enough to really have seen what Pele was like. And some names I can't think of the names now, but some of the names that came after him and sort of in between that sort of period of Romario. So obviously Romario, I mean, Bebeto wasn't a flair player. He was just he was more European, to be fair. Bebeto, I felt. Romario had a little bit of samba in him, but he wasn't overly skillful, I wouldn't say. He was just a good finisher. But there was something about him. He grew up on that beach football and stuff like that. That he's gone back to it now, I believe. So there's always been sort of eras of Brazil being, and if you listen to some of the players gone by, talk about, like your Glenn Hoddles, for example, and people older than that talk about Brazil. There was always a something about Brazil. There was always something about Brazil. So there was always a flair there. Like I say, there might have been less players, but there was always enough players that had the flair to win the game and do something. Like you've just said, they've won a lot of World Cups, so there is something there. And they always qualified early as well. No matter how crap they are, they always seem to qualify as well. So
fair point.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, but again, it's a little bit like Man United's class of '92 type thing, where will you get? I mean, I looked in the stands for that game against Norway. Rivaldo's there, Carlos is there. I don't know if R9 were there. I'm assuming he was there. I didn't see
the point. Are you ever going to get a team like that for Brazil again?
I mean, Cafu was excellent. Roberto Carlos, I mean, he wasn't the best defender, but he was excellent going forward. Even the keeper was good. What they had at
They should have won more.
Taffarel was good, and Dida was good.
For sure.
Midfield, I've said before, in the older times with Romario, he had Dunga. That was a really proper number 6. There was a lot of good players all at once, I felt. And obviously, Kaká, we talked about this before. Kaká was on the bench. Kaká was on the bench.
A Ballon d'Or winner.
When he was at AC Milan, he was on the bench to these guys. So it showed that they had this period where you probably could never replicate that again. And the current crop is your Hendricks. Neymar's coming towards the end now. You've got Vini. Would they count as that sort of feeling of the Brazil of the old? Vini, at a push maybe. Hendrick had that potential to be that, but he hasn't quite fulfilled it. So they're just not the same, are they? And I think looking at the game, just to finish off, is they had a lot of chances. I think Vini should have scored. Hendrick should have scored. He was through on goal, clear through on goal. Casemiro should have gone with his right foot instead of his left foot. I'm trying to think of some other chances that I saw in just the highlights. There was quite a lot of chances. There was a header as well that I believe a good cross came in. There was a header. I can't remember who headed the ball. There was the missed penalty from Bruno G. And then obviously Neymar gets that last-minute penalty.
That penalty
could. If he scores that pen, that's 1-0 up. It's
what about Neymar giving it to the keeper in the last minute? You know, your team's chasing the game, right? And you're getting into like an argument with the keeper, and like, what are you doing, man? It was so embarrassing. I mean,
it was.
I find it quite annoying because Ronaldo, who's 41 years old, 8 years older than Neymar, gets a lot of stick, right? A lot of stick. For everything. He could smile the wrong way. Yeah. But players like Neymar get, loved. Oh, it's so sad to see you go
it's a weird one,
at 34 years old, He goes to take
I've never really respected Neymar. I mean, I know he's a good player, but I've never really rated him because of his attitude and off-field antics. I've never really been able to push him into that upper echelon of players because of that. And I think I didn't like the fact that he sold his soul going to PSG. He should have stayed at Barcelona a bit longer. I get it. At the time, someone like him, who was going to be the next in line to almost rule the football world, going to PSG was just a weird thing for me. I just didn't get it. I really didn't get it. I still don't get it today, other than the money, obviously. And I know, don't want to be derogatory to Brazilians, but they do seem to chase that money when they can get it, and fair play to them. But I just didn't get it, and I just thought, you've got the chance to be the next big thing once Messi moves on. I know you probably thought Messi would never move on from Barcelona, but he was so
to take that mantle
desperate to be that man. It was like, I've got to go to PSG, and it was just, what a bad move in my opinion. But anyway, I just think I just never rated him in that sense. I know he's a good player. I know he's talented. So anybody in the chat saying, what are you talking about? Neymar's fantastic. He's world class. I'm not disputing his talent. I just don't like the other sides of him. That does impact his overall game. Yeah, I mean, he's not the player he should have been.
Yeah, I mean, and just that penalty there at the end kind of sums his whole demeanor up. Your team's chasing the game, and you never know. The refs these days, they seem to be playing extra time in stoppage time, right?
Yeah.
Put the penalty away. Shut your mouth. Put the penalty
just
away.
Get on with it.
Get
Grab
the ball.
Put it back to the spot.
Put it back to the spot, and you never know.
Yeah.
Instead, you're there waffling with the keeper. The keeper's happy to waffle with you because the keeper knows
the
ref's watching this. The ref's watching this, and the ref's thinking, "I'll blow the whistle straight away. You're wasting your own time here."
Yeah,
son.
exactly.
And then he puts the penalty away, goes up to the keeper, and the keeper's like, "Yeah, no problem. Sit here and argue with me. I got no issues, mate. We're wasting your time." It's just a summary of your career, mate. You're just, and for me, he doesn't get enough stick for it. You know, if that's Ronaldo, oh my good God!
This whole
and this guy's 34 years old and he's a crock.
Celebrating his sister's birthday all the time as well and going AWOL every time.
I mean, Ancelotti taking him to the World Cup. I don't understand what he did there. To be honest, he hardly used him.
That were pressure.
Yeah, hardly used him. Ridiculous. Anyway, Ancelotti probably moves on. We've got Michael coming here saying Neymar and Pogba were players who couldn't push on to the next level. It's a fair point, you know. I think, I mean, Pogba, another one who I think he's been harshly treated and he's obviously had some family issues as well. And but I see why you're putting them in the same bracket. Neymar wanted to be off Messi's shadow. Remember, Messi stayed almost 4 years after Neymar left. He was the main man for a time at PSG. Yep. Vinny not taking the first pen says so much about his character, in my opinion. You should have taken it no matter the outcome. Yeah, I was shocked that it was Guimaraes taking that. When Vinny's on 4 goals, that would push him to 5 goals.
And he didn't look confident either, Bruno. He didn't look confident for me.
And this is it, Michael. Ronaldo does has unnecessary envy and hatred towards him, massively. You know, I see people online like, Neymar, I'm so glad you're going. Last tournament. What do you mean last tournament? At 34, Ronaldo in any tournament was a menace. You know, in 2018, which is 8 years ago, so Ronaldo would have been 34. He scored a hat-trick against Spain in the opening game with that famous free kick that went top bins. You know, this is not the same. And the disrespect Ronaldo gets at 41 is ridiculous. Anyway, we'll have time to talk about Ronaldo very shortly. Before we move on to the Spain-Portugal game and then to the Manchester United news, how do you feel about England and Norway? I mean, for me, Haaland is a threat and he's fantastic in this tournament. But you're coming up against players that know Haaland week in, week out.
Yes,
I don't think I know Gabriel does. As a team, as a squad of players, they know Haaland. I think this is England going through to the semi-finals for me. I don't know how you feel. I'm asking you a 2-part question here. Are England happier to play Norway than Brazil? I think they will be.
Yeah, I think what you do get, and it will start to diminish like it was with Manchester United. It's one of those where I almost liken them, Manchester United and Brazil. Some people might think, what the hell are you talking about? But it's more about the fame of both teams, and also the fear of both teams. And I think that fear continues for a while until eventually, when you see like a Norway beat them, for example, it starts to diminish. I mean, if Japan had beat them, because Japan could have done it, but it just
could have done it. Yeah.
So it shows the chink in their armor. So eventually you'll stop respecting Brazil. So I think at the moment, an England side will probably think, I don't want to face Brazil because they've got Vinny. I mean, Rafinha, I know he got injured, but they've got Vinny. They've got, all these other players. And you kind of still see the yellow in your face, like, oh my God, it's this yellow machine. And they've got Ancelotti there and all this sort of stuff.
You're right.
Organised. Yeah. And I think that will fade, but at the moment that was still sort of there. And I just think Norway have just played their game. And I always thought before a ball was kicked on this one, is that I would have thought Brazil would have got through it. But I just thought if Norway defend well, which I believe they can do, they are more of a team. There's no superstars. I know Haaland's a superstar, but there's no real superstars in that team. It's just a team who work together, play together well, and they defend well. And I think if you defend well against Brazil and nick a goal, can Brazil do anything about that? And we know that Vinny can come up with something special, so you've always got to worry about that. And that game could have gone the other way because there were so many chances that Brazil had. However, going back to your question, I would say England are happier to face Norway purely because of the names. And I really do feel in a Declan Rice and people like that having a chat thinking, we could have Brazil next. You're always going to have that in your mind for now. I think if you've got Norway next, the only person you're really worried about is Haaland. And I say the only person is 6-foot-odd machine who's going to score, score against you.
He's
Look what he did
on
to
goals.
Gabriel. I looked at the header and he absolutely bullied Gabriel in the area.
Yeah, big time.
He just shoved him out of the way. And Gabriel's been one of the best defenders in the league.
So much so, Gabriel and his defensive partner, the PSG boy, I can't say his name now. I can't think of his name. How do you? Oh my God, it starts with an M.
Why is his name gone?
Anyway.
Yeah, it'll come back.
They both.
Is it Marquinhos? No, it's not Marquinhos.
Something. Yeah. They both stood off him.
Yeah.
They both stood off him because they just wasn't sure what to do with him. Should I get into a muscle fest?
He just dominated that area. They just didn't know what to do with him, like you say.
Yeah, it was just absolutely fantastic. But I do think England will be able to deal with Haaland.
I think they'll get through it. It's just that again, the same tactics will be there where they'll think, right, England on paper are a better side than us. So we have to be disciplined. We have to defend well. And then all we need to do is rely on, again, you forget, for some reason, I always thought Bob was Brazilian. And I've quite sort of liked him at City here and there when he's come on. He's very effective and he's got a bit of flair to him. So you've got him and you've got Nusa. And those two alone sort of create a bit of flair.
And Odegaard as well,
intrigue.
Right?
Well, I don't really rate Odegaard.
I know.
But he can pick a pass, so can't he? So, again, all you need to do, I don't rate England's back line. No. That's the centre-back pairing. It's a bit iffy for me. So I think you get a good cross in there. Haaland has played against these centre-backs regularly. You'd fancy Haaland to get on the end of it. And if he gets a chance, he's going to score it, especially against Pickford. So we've got to really go into that game where you're on the front foot and really go for it, because if you don't, I think Norway get a goal through Haaland, the shut up shop. It's can you then break them down? Is going to be the thing. So I do think overall that England will get through it, but they're going to have to play well.
I think for me, if someone said to England fans, you've got Norway in the quarterfinals to get to the semi-final, they would have bit your hand off. So,
you'd fancy it beforehand, but
or if they said beforehand, you've got Brazil in the quarterfinals to get to the semi-finals, they would have said.
You just don't want to hear Haaland beating that drum and then the rowing, because that was effective. Every time I see that in the games, I'm like, wow, that's powerful.
It will be a tough game. It will be a tough game. And
so, what did England do when they win? They sing to Wonderwall.
Yeah,
they sing. And it's like, really?
A Man City song, basically,
Exactly, a Man City song. Whereas Norway, it's like the drum gets on the pitch, they're all in on the floor doing a rowing. In the crowd, they're rowing. It's like, that's like nothing else that you see. You used to see the Mexican wave, that was pivotal, but this is powerful. And you just think, you don't want to be seeing that at the end of the game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how that plays out. It'll be a good game, but I think England would have taken that beforehand, and let's see how that plays out. Moving on now to Portugal, Spain, and I haven't even had a chance to do a review video of the Croatia game, so this is kind of my chance to quickly spiel out how I feel about that. I mean, that game's obviously feels like a long time ago, but what a match that was. Croatia gave us a really hard time. They do what most teams do against us, which is shut up shop. And our midfield going into this tournament as one of the favourites because of our midfield, because of João Neves, because of Vitinha winning back-to-back Champions Leagues, because of Bruno Fernandes being player of the season at Manchester United and breaking the assist record. Rightfully so. Our midfield should finally be respected and slightly feared.
Yeah.
They find themselves passing left, passing right, not taking any risks. I can't believe I'm watching my captain, Bruno Fernandes, not taking risks. I can't believe I'm watching my captain, Bruno Fernandes, getting chances in the box, not putting them away.
Yeah.
It's becoming Portugal's midfield is poor in this tournament. Really, really, really poor. They're not taking risks. They're not doing what we thought they were going to do. And then, with being tentative, with dominating possession, we did have chances in the first half. Croatia do what they do best. They get a chance, they put it away. They're very direct, Croatia. Yeah. They know where they're passing the ball. We're going down the right wing, and then we're crossing it in. Someone's going to be there. We're going to try and pick up the second ball. Goal. They've got it down to a T, experienced group of players, aging players, but fantastic. They get that goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ronaldo then gets put through after some changes happen. Vitinha gets hooked off. Bruno Fernandes gets hooked off. Ruben Neves gets put on. Bernardo Silva gets put on. I mean, it's nice to have that sort of depth. And guess what? A direct ball over the top, which Cristiano Ronaldo at 41 years of age takes down and knocks by the keeper. Fantastic goal. That was obviously disallowed for offside. But straight away you think, oh my God, what a goal from Ronaldo. He's still got that. If you play the ball forward and give him a couple of yards, I mean, how Vitinha, Neves and Bruno Fernandes can't figure out getting Ronaldo in a position where he gets a couple of yards. I don't understand, but they figured it out, Ruben Neves and co. And Ronaldo puts it away, disallowed. Next thing you know, we get a penalty kick, which was a stonewall penalty. The guy's all over Vega. Ronaldo, as he does, puts it away. And then I swear Croatia had about 10 goals disallowed, Dan. It was unbelievable. And then Ronaldo gets taken off. Gonzalo Ramos doesn't immediately come on for Ronaldo. That was another sub, but he goes in Ronaldo's place. And what a goal from Gonzalo Ramos. You do not see strikers score goals like that anymore. You know, a defender on his back or defender on his front. And it's like, no, I'm winning the header and glancing this in. Bang, 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 goal. Fantastic goal from his now teammate, Rafael Leão, crossing it in. And somehow Portugal go through. The technology in the ball saved Portugal and we go through. And I'm glad we did. However, here we are against Spain. And they have the talent, Dan, and the age, right? They're a fresh bunch of players to absolutely punish us tonight if this midfield of Portugal doesn't fucking wake up.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think about tonight before I go and say my piece on what I think is going to happen tonight? How do you feel about tonight?
Yeah, I think I didn't see the full game, Portugal versus Croatia. Again, I saw most of it and then caught up with highlights type thing. And again, the chances are there, but then it's all about knitting it together. And I think it's just weird how that midfield's not functioning, as you're saying. And otherwise, it's just more pass. You can't sort of get that happy balance. I mean, I thought Leao's been good in places.
He's been okay.
He's been effective, to be honest. And I think he's been more.
You see what I mean about him, don't you, Dan? He's got something, hasn't he?
He's got something. And he's one of those where I wanted him years ago. I think we'll link to him a couple of years ago, maybe. And again, I still think he's a good player. It's just that time's kind of gone on and he's kind of like surpassed him, and there's certain players that just seem to have gone ahead of him now. You just don't know where he's at, really. But I see where you were coming from in terms of there is a player there. It's whether a team can rescue.
He had that chance where he cut in, smashed it off the crossbar, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was a good, that was a good shot.
If that goes something that Leao does,
to be fair.
If that goes crossbar and in, it's like, oof, what a highlight.
It's a different game, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, and he also gets the assist for Gonzalo Ramos. So
yeah. So he's been effective. He's done his job, hasn't he, really?
Yeah. On another day, that goes in off the crossbar and he gets the assist. And all of a sudden, you're thinking, flipping now, you know, he could be a problem in the Premier League, but it just doesn't. There's something about it, but there's
something missing in there. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's attitude or what. I don't know. There's something missing. But in terms of the game, though, again, I think a lot of people have been saying the same in regards to how you operate with Ronaldo. I think you've kind of got to do what Argentina sort of tried to do, where you just almost and it's a bit different because Messi will do a little bit more on the ball, won't he, now?
He will do,
what Ronaldo does now. But you kind of like do your job, you work hard around him and just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And I think you've kind of got to do the same with Portugal. If you're going to play him, I still argue that maybe you'd be better off coming on sometimes. But if you're going to play him, you've got to have a lot of hard work from Leao, a lot of hard work from Neto, Vitinha and Neves probably squeezing in a little bit. and sort of covering those gaps, and Fernando and Bruno sort of working harder, because you've got to do, because Ronaldo's not going to track back. He's not going to do all the stuff that modern players
That's the
do
thing.
these days.
Ronaldo
but you
has
don't
an
expect
interview.
him to either.
Ronaldo had an interview yesterday, and maybe that's
Yeah.
the Portuguese Federation kind of saying, you know what, this might be your last chance to have an interview with a press conference, rather, before, you know, you call it quits in the World Cup. So
yeah,
maybe that's us kind of premeditating. Look, it's going to be a tough game. We could go out tonight. We've had Pedro Neto do one in the previous game. I think it was potentially Dallo or Conceição in the one before. I don't remember. But finally, it was Ronaldo's turn. And it's kind of fitting that it's happened before the Spain game, which leads me to believe there could be an inkling that we're going out, right? And Ronaldo said, my job is to occupy defenders.
Yeah.
Right? To allow space for my teammates.
Yeah.
That's what the manager's told him to do. That's why the manager plays him. You know?
Yeah.
And Michael comes in here and says the Portuguese team should be ashamed of themselves. And he's spot on. You've got Cristiano Ronaldo, whether he's 41 or not, whether he's the greatest on the ball now or not, he does occupy defenders. He does. No matter what you think of him, he's a problem. And if you give him space, he will score, right? So whilst he's occupying these defenders, where are you, Bruno? Where are you? Where are you, Leao? Where are you, Vitinha, from a shot from outside the box? It's not just about pass, rotate. As a midfielder, you need to have some end product. We talk about Declan Rice here, and I give him a lot of stick. But the geezer still shows up at the edge of the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we need more from the Portuguese players. It's just not good enough. When Ronaldo occupies someone at the front post, where's the winger on the far side? Showing up on the back post. They're never there, Dan. And it's just becoming... And when you see Ronaldo frustrated, it's because I'm doing my job here, actually. And that's using my reputation and occupying defenders. Right? What are you guys doing? Why are you... Anyway, I am so frustrated with this Portuguese national team. And like Michael goes on to say here, they're all hiding in the CR7 hate. And he's spot on. They need to step up tonight. The question is, will they? We've got, this is what we've got. We've got Rodri and Pedri versus Vitinha and Neves. That's what we've got, yeah? Then you've got Bruno Fernandes ahead of that. And ahead of, they play a slightly different formation, but you can throw a floating Yamal ahead of that, right? I've just named you there.
We've got Olmo as well, though, haven't they? Danny Olmo.
Yeah, and they've got that. How do you say this fella's name that's scoring goals for fun?
Ozibal. Yeah, he's always good in tournaments. Always.
He scored against us in the Nations League final as well, right? So he's been a problem for us.
He's going to be a problem tonight.
But if we just focus on midfield, okay, I've named you 2 of theirs, 3 of theirs, 2 of ours, 3 of ours. Who wins that battle for you?
I mean, it should be closer when you think about the PSG performances and how I've really loved their midfield. But I think Spain, because, I mean, I know Roger's not quite the same as he was a few years ago, but I just think the know-how of Rodri, his ability, I think in itself, it's a lot to contend with, just him. And then obviously we know about Pedri from Barcelona and stuff, and again, if it's Olmo that plays, he's quite energetic up and down and sits in that pocket. He'll do a bit more than what Bruno does. So I think overall Spain will.
Do you know what's funny?
Win that battle.
All over Instagram, the memes after were Vitinha and Bruno drop a Pedri special, and it's just arrows of sideways and backwards passing, right? And funny, we're coming up against Pedri and Rodri now, right? What the funny one for me is we've become a possession team. Whether we do anything with it's another flipping question or answer. But we like to keep the ball. And even when we got knocked out by France in the last tournament, and we kept the ball off of France, right?
Yeah.
Spain are known to be a possession team.
Yeah.
And they will not want to lose this game.
No.
They won't want Portugal to dominate possession against them just out of pride.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it's two teams wanting the same thing in that sense.
It's going to be a very funny game. what's going to happen here? Which team's going to yield possession and say, okay, don't worry, you can have the ball. We're going to punish you. I really do not know how this one's going to play out.
It's a tough one. They're almost very similar on paper in terms of how they want to play.
Player for player, right?
Yeah. And players have got, it's like, so, I mean, I quite like Porro and Cucurella when he's on it. He's quite good, but then you've got Mendes and you've got Cancelo, because I've always liked Cancelo.
Yeah.
Your sort of central defenders are kind of on a similar sort of level again. You've got Laporte for Spain, but then you've got Diaz for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't really know the other ones, right? Vega, and then you've got Cabarassi, is it?
Which is kind of, for me, like
very sort of similar. And then you again with your Pedri and Vitinha and Neves, very similar again. Only for me, Rodri sort of stands on his own, more on reputation. I know he's kind of dipped a little bit, but he kind of stands on his own for me. And then in your pocket there, where you've got Bruno. Obviously, Bruno more effective for like assists and goal scoring, but he hasn't been on form, has he? Olmo seems to always play pretty well in tournaments. Him and that Azarabal, or whatever he's called.
Yeah. Good player.
Not really someone that he's never really gone to like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or anywhere like that. I don't even know who he plays for, but he's very effective when it comes to tournaments. So, and then I suppose the one that stands out when you want to compare player for player is Yamal. I mean, I don't think you've got a player on his level, have you, really? If you get Yamal on his day, Leao's good, don't get me wrong, Neto can be good, but they're not Yamal, are they?
That's the thing. I think you've got to look at it in clusters and partnerships. That's the only way to separate the two teams. The cluster and partnership is this. You've got Yamal and maybe an Olmo as your right winger and your pocket player. Whereas we could have Bruno and Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
Now, you look at those two on their day, and for me, even an on-form Yamal and Olmo, Bruno and Bernardo Silva could dominate possession and create things. It's a very tough one when you look at it in clusters.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's much closer when you do it in clusters, definitely.
Yeah, when you do it in clusters.
If I even play for play, is not much difference. It's just that you've got, like I say, Mendes on his day. You know, he's better than Porro, he's better than Cucurella, but then they can be effective. So it's difficult, very difficult. It could be it's one of those where it can be a very, very close game, or you could just get a fantastic Spain that just steamrolls you, or you could just get Portugal that could just nick it for a Ronaldo goal or something. It can go either way.
Ronaldo's. I mean, Michael's come in here and said it's a derby. All these analysis doesn't matter. It's who has most hunger that wins. Also, I don't think CR7 has ever lost to Spain in his career. Correct me if I'm wrong. He always turns up. He has lost to Spain in his career. And it's when we went to penalties against them. It was either in the Euros or the World Cup. And he decided to take the final penalty. Yeah. And we did not get there. Yeah. And he got a lot of stick for that, because it was like, you want to take the final penalty to have the moment. We didn't get there. Right. And we got knocked out by Spain. We were fuming. So, but he's always performed against Spain. He scored that amazing goal that year when Nani took it off him and headed it in, when he'd like nutmegged and rolled it round and then lobbed the keeper. He obviously scored the hat-trick in 2018. He scored in the Nations League final last year, 2025. Ronaldo always performs against Spain, and he's going to be very confident, and they're going to be worried about it.
I'm looking at some stats as well, that Oyarzabal, because again, he's not a name and people probably can't even pronounce his name, scored 17 goals in the last 16 starts for Spain.
Yeah, he's been
so
sensational.
It's like you can't discount him. You can't discount it. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be
for me, just Leao won't start, and that's because of his tracking back tendencies. I think Pedro Neto will actually start on the left to help Mendes with tracking back. I think Bernardo Silva will start on the right, not for winging, for being a winger, but for us to keep possession of the ball, and for him to drop in midfield. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think he plays Neto on the right and Leao on the left and goes for it. I'd be very shocked. Martinez is not that type of manager. He likes to have control.
Right. Yeah, because I'm just thinking,
and I think that's the way
your best bet would be to have a bit of width though, and try and get that ball into the box around Ronaldo.
I think going for it is the best bet, but I understand his side of controlling the game, frustrating Spain, and then just winning the Portuguese way, which is drama, drama, drama. It's the only way we win games. Drama. Look through history, man. When we've knocked out England, drama. When we've done well in tournaments, drama. With don't get me wrong, sprinkled with moments of brilliance, you know.
As long as you don't do a Paraguay, because that would
oh my God, that was mental, wasn't it? That was mental. But to move on to Manchester United for the last bit of the show, quick prediction for this evening's game, Dan.
What, the Spain and Portugal game?
Yeah.
What a score prediction.
I mean, it doesn't have to be spot on score.
I just feel this will go into extra time, me. I just got a feeling it'll go into extra time. What will happen after extra time, though? That's the question. I just can't. I'm struggling to bet against. There's something about that Oyarzabal. He just can't keep him quiet.
He scored against us in Nations League.
He'll just do something. I'm feeling more that. Sorry to say this, but I'm feeling more that Spain will just do it. Is how I'm feeling.
Quite convincingly.
I don't think convincingly though, because again, when you look at the two sides, I know it's not played on paper; it's played on the pitch. But as much as I haven't seen a lot of Spain in this World Cup, strangely, to be honest with you, I did see the first game. I was very disappointed with that, and then I've seen that they sort of upped their game a little bit. But I don't know if Spain are on that sort of how they were when they won back to back a few years ago.
No, they're not that Spain. No.
That level.
They're still a good team. They're the European champions, right?
Yeah, I've got issues with their keeper as well, but anyway, that's another story. I don't think they won't batter you, but I think they'll just have enough to get over the line, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. But again, it's hard to discount Portugal, and I'm not doing, because I just think this is going to be a really close game. And I say that it could be one of those games that's like 2-2 at half time. It's just one of those where it can go really either way. But I just think overall Spain will probably the ones that will get through to the next round, unfortunately.
For me, to quickly summarize and kind of do my game preview here all in one go. Michael's coming and saying Mendes and Cancelo should cancel out the wings for Spain. The battle is in the midfield. Portugal is like a soap opera. You are spot on. I mean, you want entertainment, watch a Portugal game. And that isn't because of football. That's because of the drama. Because there's always drama. There's talent. There's
full package.
There's drama with Ronaldo and other players. There's us being wide open at the back and like, what the hell? Have you just thrown your tactics out? I mean, what are you doing? You know, it's just drama. But to preview the game, I am very, very worried that Colombia, who, again, I've kind of said they're going to age into this tournament as a decent team, completely got at us and had too much energy for us. Yeah. Croatia in the second half, too much directness and energy for us. I know styles make fights, and also history makes fights as well, right? It kind of, sometimes teams, just like England yesterday, rise to the occasion, right? And sometimes you need the opponent to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
I could see Spain beating us 2-3-0 if we're not if we're not very, very careful.
There's potential for that, isn't there? Yeah.
People are very harsh with England and how they play football, and we've been worse than England in this tournament. Portugal have not impressed at all in this tournament.
I'd probably agree with that.
We have been worse than England in this tournament, and the media on England have been relentless. Okay, Portugal have been nowhere near how England have played, and we're going to be in trouble this evening, big time. So this is kind of a rallying cry to my captain, not captain for Portugal, but captain for Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes. You want to be mentioned in the same breath as Kevin De Bruyne and these, I don't know, Iniestas, Kakas, these type of players. And some people watching this might be like, no, then he's not in the same breath. I think he's capable of being in that same breath, but it's matches like this evening.
Yeah.
He needs a Bellingham-esque performance.
Yeah. He does need to step up on this. For you guys to have a good chance, he needs to step up on this one.
We win tonight if Bruno Fernandes shows up in a Manchester United shirt. So this is my rallying cry to you, Bruno. Wear a Manchester United training kit underneath your Portugal kit. I've got no problems with that. Wear it underneath and be the Bruno Fernandes that you are for Manchester United. And if you do that, we win tonight. No problems. 2-1, 3-1. Honestly, that's how effective at top of his game Bruno Fernandes is. Forget Vitinha, forget Neves, forget Ronaldo. Bruno on his game can unlock any game.
Well, what's your feeling on his, not off-field, but his on-field relationship with Ronaldo? What's your feeling on that? Because
this is a funny one, and it's a great question you've asked me, right? You know how we've spoken about Bellingham, or I spoke about Bellingham having a bit of an attitude problem and his cockiness being on the cusp of brilliance or being too much. Bruno's the only player in the Portugal team that probably has the same equivalent passion as Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of wanting to win and being competitive. The rest of them seem like they're there for, I don't know, going to the beach, having a nice little hairstyle, maybe getting some sort of Brill Cream sponsorship if Brill Cream's still around. Sorry, but for me, they're not passionate enough, in my opinion, the Portuguese players. But Bruno is. And that's why they clash, because when you get two passionate guys like that, no matter what happens, they just don't see eye to eye. And they both kind of highlight each other's weaknesses. And what I mean by that, Dan, is Bruno needs a fast player in front of him that can get in behind.
It needs options, doesn't it?
Bruno also needs someone he can play into and pop it off back to Bruno. So, and Ronaldo doesn't offer him that. And the other side of it is Ronaldo needs someone that he can be close with, if that makes sense, that he can play off, but someone close to him. But Bruno's always kind of 20 yards away from play, pops it off to you, then joins play. So they kind of highlight each other's weaknesses, so they kind of fall out with each other. That's what it is. But
so I always felt, especially when he first came back to United, I always felt that Bruno was a little bit inferior of Ronaldo, kind of like, I don't know, it was a weird one. I mean, I think it sort of changed before he left, but it always felt like he was so in awe of Ronaldo that he couldn't perform. I mean, I may have got that wrong.
That might be the case.
Going on still.
That might be the case here, but Bruno's not fucking. Well, what is he now, Bruno? 29, 30, 31? I don't even know how old Bruno is.
In his 30s now, isn't he? I think.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not a kid.
No.
Right. It's time to step up. Forget Ronaldo. Forget everything else.
Oh, yeah,
Score a brace tonight. Score a brace tonight, right? Get an assist. I can't believe I'm saying this. Do a Bellingham tonight. You have the standard and the level to do it. Show the level of player you are. And if he doesn't, to summarize this game, we're out, Dan. And I'm sorry to put this all on Bruno Fernandes, but Dan, you're a Manchester United
He's got to focus on it. Yeah.
You're a Manchester United fan. You've seen how many times if Bruno doesn't show up for us, what happens?
Oh yeah, we just don't perform, or we don't get a goal, or there's loads of things that just doesn't happen if he doesn't perform.
It is no different for Portugal. Yeah. Despite all the talent in and around, it is no different for Portugal.
Yeah, producing at the other end, it's a lot of it you would expect needs to go through him.
Yeah. I mean, my prediction tonight is if Bruno doesn't perform, I know this is me sitting on the fence, we lose and we lose well. If Bruno performs, we can win this game well. It literally anchors on my captain being the best he can be. Final ones here from Michael, and then we'll touch base on Manchester United. Start Felix and Leao. They can do the work for both Bruno and CR7. Then get both Neves in the middle. Let Vitinha come in the second half. Yeah, I mean, dropping Vitinha for a game like this, that is never going to happen. No way.
He's not going to drop Vitinha.
He's not going to drop Vitinha at all. Bruno respects CR7 too much, and it feels like he doesn't want to take the spotlight from CR7. Bruno needs to play like CR7. I agree. Spot on. He needs to play like CR7 isn't there. He needs to shout at CR7. Fall out. I don't give a fuck. Fall out with each other tonight. Come to blows with each other tonight. But guess what? Win. Get to the next round. And you know what? You've got a few days to make up. Get to the next round.
Yeah.
There's not
and it's
many
a job,
opportunities
and they've got to
left.
just do it. Yeah.
Do your job.
I know what it's been like playing in teams in the past as a, even like in school where you've got like a superstar player in your team and everything goes through them, and it can take away from your own performance if you let it. But when you're a professional, you're an adult, you're getting paid, you've just got to take that out of your mind.
I can't
use
buy
it as an
into
advantage.
It, Dan. And I know it's a valid point you bring up, and we kind of saw that at Manchester United a little bit with Bruno and Ronaldo. I can't buy into that. Just because of Bellingham last night, you know, you've got Harry Kane there, you've got other players there, and Bellingham's just got the cockiness.
Yeah, his attitude is just like,
he don't give a shit.
Celebration tells you everything. Yeah,
he don't give a shit who's on the pitch.
Yeah.
He don't care.
Look at his first
I'm
season
not
at Real
one here
Madrid.
to shout anyone's praises. Yeah, like that doesn't play for Manchester United and doesn't play for Portugal, right? I'll say it straight. I am a bit biased that way. But the performance I saw last night at the Azteca at altitude, right? With everyone saying how tired the English are going to be. Mexico not conceding a goal all tournament until last night. Bellingham shows up and scores 2.
Yeah.
That's it, bruv. That is the type of player, type of attitude you need at a World Cup. Fair play to him. Honestly, I clap my hands to him, right? That is big. And I need that from Bruno Fernandes.
He is a big game player, so you expect that.
We need that for Bruno Fernandes. CR7 is like the main character in anime. Bruno has to become his nemesis. That's also a rival. He needs to be more dogged. Yeah, I mean, we need performances all over the park tonight. I'm very, very worried, but that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Moving on. Manchester United. We're now being linked with Andre Santos, 50 million from Chelsea. You know, we've got the Chouameni in the background. We've got Alex Scott in the background. We've got Somerville in the background. I wish I could be enthusiastic. There's a reason we've spent 56 minutes on the World Cup here, crew. I'm going to get straight to it. Dan, do you trust Ineos to get this right? Do you trust the fact that they're not willing to spend money and they don't want to fuck up the wage bill? Because let's face it, we have fucked up the wage bill in the past and had to have Amorim come in and basically spring clean the place before feeling like we've got it under control again. Yeah. Would you have paid the money for Tonali? Would you have paid the money for Fernandes? Or are you happy that they're kind of stepping back and go, no, we're only going to go for players that were in our wage structure and we feel are worth the money? I'm getting a little bit worried here. You know, you see Michael Carrick at Wimbledon waving at everyone, and I'm borderline in rant mode with Manchester United and what's going on here. Edison deal falling through last night and them coming out in a panic saying, no, we're just doing his men. It's all looking a little bit like, do you guys know what you're doing? Before you come in, are we on the line of genius or completely fucking this up?
I think completely fucking it up. I think that I've been dragged along by other fans and I get people's points. I do like to see things from both sides, but from last season, I've still got to maintain that I liked the window, but I've always said from the start, I do not give credit to Ineos for Mbeumo, Cunha. They can have Sesko, they can have Le Mans. Yeah. And even Le Mans wasn't to do with them. That was to do with a goalkeeping coach who said, don't go Martinez, go Le Mans. I see a player in there. He isn't a part of the scouting network. Okay, yes, you can speak to your goalkeeping coach. Fergie did it back in the day when it came to looking at certain keepers like De Gea was brought to Fergie's attention by maybe the same goalkeeping coach, actually. And I get that, but in terms of the way we're looking at things with our data, we keep saying we're data-led. So Jim says, we've got the data, but you can't beat what Wilcox sees with his eyes and all this sort of rubbish. I mean, what really gets me is this knobhead is sort of saying, and I hope it's not true, but I think I've got a sneaky feeling it is true, is, oh, we can go in for Mnecha or Mnecha or whatever you call him, German guy in Bundesliga, and it's like, because I know his family. I used to see him around the place at City, right? What does that mean? Like, you're just going to start.
What does that mean?
So the thing for me, Wilcox keeps being attached to ex-players. So Delap and Meacher now, there's been a few in the past where he's like, we should look at that play. It's like, where is your ability to find talent then? Why are you just talking about all this talent that walked through City in the past? Not interested in that. Find some talent. Do your job. Like, you got Vavell there, and I'm not saying Vavell's the be all and end all, but he's got that Red Bull sort of thing around him. He did do okay at Chelsea. It was just that Chelsea weren't prepared to give him enough sort of control, in a sense. He's come here with the talent he's got and the contacts he's got. And yeah, we listened to him for Sesko, I believe. But now that we're not getting the players that, and again, going back to my original point, is Mbuma and Cunha, I'm not giving you credit for that, Ineos, because they're in front of all our faces. We all knew they were good players and there should be players that we should go for. If you're going to buy a player that's Premier League proven and you want someone up front or on the wings, why wouldn't you look any further than Mbuma? Because he played really well. He had really good numbers. Look at Cunha as well, what he was doing at Wolves. So they're all obvious players. Cunha, you didn't negotiate his fee. He had a release clause. And he wanted to come to Man United, so you didn't do any work there. And Mbuma, yes, you had to negotiate the fee, but he wanted to come to the club, and he did the dirty work for you by saying, I only want to go to Manchester United.
I think this is what they're expecting. I think this is what they're expecting.
It's the easy route of just getting players that say, I want to come to you because it will drop the fee, but also it stops them having to negotiate. It stops them having to beat another club. And I'm sorry, you've got Barada there that's been at City, who should be used to out-muscling other clubs. And also, you come into Manchester United that, sorry to anybody that's a City fan out there, but we're a bigger club than you are. You're performing better than us and you're acting bigger than we are, but ultimately we're a bigger club than you are. So we should only really lose to Real Madrid and maybe Barcelona. Yeah. Everybody else should be a level playing field, but we're losing players to Spurs. And I appreciate it's money, but we still lost to Spurs. So going to Martinez, yes, I never want to pay £85 million for Fernandes because I don't think he's worth that yet. I think he's too early in development. I don't think he's shown enough. I want to ask
a question on Fernandes before you move on. I kind of threw something in the chat the other day with Alex, Christian, and yourself, the emotions room chat. And it was not dismissed, but kind of like, no, I think it's all about money. It's nothing to do with kind of what you're suggesting there, Dave. But since then, Mateus Fernandes has come out and said a big part of his move, and granted, he's not going to say it's the money. He's never going to come out and say that. So I'm not saying you guys are incorrect. You guys are spot on. The money's been, I'd say, 70 to 80% of the reasoning. But he's since come out and said that his meeting with De Zerbi and basically what De Zerbi has said is one of the main reasons for him picking Spurs over Manchester United. So what I was floating in our chat, was, can Carrick attract players? Can Carrick attract these players to Manchester United? You saw his end of season speech, and I don't like going back to this because we kind of agreed on the fact that it's not about speeches, is it? It's about what you're doing on the training ground. It's about results. I totally agree, Dan.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm going back to that is when you go into the office, and granted, it's not Carrick negotiating these deals, it's Ineos, it's that. But we cannot ignore that managers play a huge part in getting players over the line. An example, Mateus Fernandes, he's got United in for him, he's got Spurs in for him. Someone's called De Zerbi at Spurs and said, listen, can you have a word with the player? And just share with him your vision, right?
Yeah.
De Zerbi's done it. Done. Now, I'm not saying that's the whole reason I said that at the top of this. But do you trust Carrick to have that phone call? Be able to persuade players to... I mean, if you can't persuade a player to pick Manchester United over Spurs with one phone call, forget the money with one phone call. I'm very, very, very worried. So the question I asked you, and the question I kind of asked in the chat, but I didn't quite get an answer from any of you. Do you think Carrick can attract players?
Yeah, because funnily enough, and maybe I was influenced by that, I I had this as a question in my last show that I did on Friday. And I was sort of asking the people that were in there, I don't know if Michael was in there actually, I was asking the people that were in there, has Carrick got pull? And my opinion on that is he doesn't have pull. I don't think there's a lot of players of these days that know who Carrick is. Without that sounding weird, what I mean is there will be players that I think, oh yeah, Carrick played in that, one of those famous Manchester United teams, and he's a legend and he's won a lot of stuff. I get that, but what I mean is that when you're looking at ex-players, if that's, I don't know, let's say that's Cantona in charge, and it might be a bad example, but just more to do with his aura.
No, I think that's a great example. I think that's a great example. If Cantona calls you up or De Zerbi calls you up, right? Yeah. And De Zerbi, the reason he's got this player ahead of Carrick is because I think, despite English not being his first language, I reckon he can probably articulate a vision and passion towards what he wants to build better than Michael Carrick. Carrick will put you to sleep.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Talking about, I don't know, the 1999 final. How's that fucking possible?
This is it. I've listened and going back to what's saying there as well, it's like, if that's Cantona, straight away it's like, freaking out, it's Cantona calling me. But on top of that, it's okay. It might be a poor example because he says some weird shit, but in terms of the aura, in terms of him as a person, that sort of charisma, I don't think Carrick's got charisma. I think Carrick's boring. I listen to him in press conferences. I don't feel infused by him. I don't feel like I'm going to be confident going into a new season. I didn't want him as a coach. Yes, I sang Carrick at the wheel and all that stuff because it was fun and I liked what he did for us. But if I was to choose, he'd be way down in my pecking order. Yeah. I do think he deserves a chance because of his, his results.
His performances,
Yeah, and however, though, I think ultimately this is still a guy that was sacked from Middlesbrough. And in terms of charisma, you could draw players to Middlesbrough because it's like, it's Carrick used to play for Man United and he's now at Middlesbrough. Fantastic stuff, I'll go there. But that's a different type of player that you're attracting to Middlesbrough. You're at Manchester United now, and you can sort of try and live off the fact that you are part of the teams that have won and you've played with Rio and you've played with Rooney and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's about you as a coach now, you as a name, you as charisma. If you've got to call up and the thing is, what's sad about this is that I strongly believe that Fernandes is in awe of Bruno. It's his idol. He would have wanted to play for Manchester United and be able to play alongside Bruno. And the fact that you have that as an advantage, you have Manchester United as an advantage, you've got Manchester United in the Champions League as an advantage, and you still lose to Spurs because De Zerbi has got more charisma than you and can sell a project better than you.
The player has said himself. The player has said himself, I'm not making this up, and this is no Michael Carrick agenda, I'm behind Michael Carrick. If he gets the right players, I hope he kicks on like he finished at the end of last season. It was sensational. But before that even came out, that Mateus Fernandes said that De Zerbi was a huge part of him joining Spurs, I suggested to you guys, has Carrick got a part to play in this? Has Carrick failed this transfer by not stepping in and trying to get the player over the line? I mean, you see Real Madrid getting cheap deals over the line, such as Bernardo Silva, Dumfries, and so on, right? And a huge part of that is Jose Mourinho basically saying, I know you're coming to the end of your career, guys, but, I want to give you a last chance. My name's Jose Mourinho. Come and play for me if you're ready to push one last year, right? Who's Carrick going to call up,
It's very rare that as coach doesn't get involved at some point. It's very rare. I'm trying to think of a player. There was a player that I think Ten Hag, it might have been, didn't get a chance to speak to before they came in, but it wasn't anybody of any significance, if I can remember rightly. But it's very even rare
Fergie
that a coach doesn't get involved.
Ronaldo. When Ronaldo
he jumped off the bus and went back in to negotiate anyway on his own, didn't he, really? Because Fergie did a lot of that himself anyway. But coaches over time have always been involved in, not in negotiations, but they're involved in trying to convince the player as well and sort of setting the scene for that player.
To finish this point,
Yeah.
To finish this point, and it's a weird one, right? Weirdly, Ruben Amorim probably had more pull than Michael Carrick.
Yes, he has.
Because he's Portuguese, because of the story behind him, because of his system, and because of the way he articulates himself. Dare I say it, the way he looks,
more
the
charisma.
way he acts,
not loads and loads of it, but more charisma.
Yeah. Players were more attracted to play under an Amorim project than they are under a Carrick project.
Oh yeah, there was a few players that became because of Amorim.
Are Ineos quietly realizing this now?
I think Ollie's got more pull, and people might think, "What the hell are you on about?" But I just think Ollie's got a bit more of a personality than Carrick, in my opinion.
He's
not the best, but he's more personality than Carrick. Carrick's very bland. I'm sorry, but he's very bland, and I don't think he's got any pull. And it's also on top of that is, again, I know it's not all about tactics per se and philosophy, but players these days will probably expect a coach to be able to break down exactly where they want them to play. And what system they're going to play in, and where they want them to operate. So it could be just as simple as, right, Mateus, you're going to play most of the games. That's the vision I've got for you. I want you to play in this pocket, or I want you to play in this half of the pitch, or I want you to be able to do this, this, and that. I can see this player connecting with you in this manner, and this is what I see both of you two doing. And I see Bruno, your idol, in front of you doing this. You know, again, going into more detail what I'm saying there, but
trying
being
to
convinced
a vision
of the project of where I fit into that team and where we're going. So on top of that, we're expecting to win the league. We're expecting to do this. We're expecting to do that. I just don't think he's got that, Carrick. I don't think he'll be able to explain
that, though. It's not just Carrick explaining that. The Spurs board have obviously gone, look, we're in advanced talks with Tonali. We're in advanced talks, you know, vice versa. We've got Mateus Fernandes over the line, Tonali, we've got, Mateus Fernandes, we've got Tonali over the line. They've got that Brighton centre-back over the line already as well.
Yeah.
Van der Ven, not Van der Ven. Who's the other one?
A couple of people have signed new contracts. You've got Van Hecker coming through.
That's over the line. Van Hecker. That's what I was trying to say.
We're also going to go for this player as well.
Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah. We've got Edison, who can't get into the fucking team for Brazil. Went over there for no fucking reason, right? Yeah. We are fucking struggling. We've got our main midfielder. Sorry, you're not going to like this. Kobe Mainu, who cannot get anywhere near the England team. Right? He may not even play this whole tournament. And it's very scary that our main midfielder, our future, can't get into the England team. Can't step foot in it, you know? And I'm very worried for next season, and we got to wrap up there because we got to get back to our lives.
I mean, ultimately, I just don't trust Ineos because I think they were lucky last season. Because when you think about it, if we were in the Champions League, we'd have bought Liam Delap would have been one player coming through the door instead of Sesko. There were a couple of others where they were a bit sort of shaky sort of signings that they were looking at. I think with more money would have gone Martinez instead of Le Mans. I mean, that might not have been a massive problem potentially because Martinez is a decent keeper. But I just think things fell into place from that. Can't happen again. You can't get that twice in a row. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says, especially when you're not prepared to pay money. And I think one of your questions were, should we have bought Fernandes? Yes, although I'm saying on one hand, too expensive. I think now, when you look at a lot of teams, I don't know if you've seen this yourself, but a lot of teams are now saying they're quoting Anderson's price going to City. So the problem you've got now is you cast Fernandes to one side and you go for, I mean, Tonali's gone for 92 million before add-ons. So that's going to be a 100 million package that. So what will happen then is you go to Crystal Palace and say, is Wharton available? He is, but you pay 90 million for him.
95, yeah.
We'll come back in a bit. Brighton, is Baleba still available? Yeah, but we're still maintaining that he's worth 85 million, especially now that we've seen Fernandes go for that. We want at least that. All right, okay, we'll come back to you. Lille, Bouade, he's only 18. How much do you want for him? Oh, we want 100 million for him if you want him now.
Yeah.
If you want him now, it's 100 million. If you want to
after the World Cup.
If you want to loan him back, he's 70. But if you want him right now, it's 100.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
You're spot on.
Right, we'll come back. And then you're really clutching at straws then. So then you end up at Chelsea. Oh, don't think it's panic, everybody, because we were in for him about a season ago, 2 seasons ago.
Andre Santos.
And then what are Chelsea going to say? Well, you bought Mount offers for 50 million a couple of seasons ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago. You've sold us a dud in Garnacho. So how about 80 million?
How
you don't play him.
How about we fill our midfield with 2 Brazilians that can't get into the Brazil squad? Basically.
Exactly. No chance. Edison, I'm sorry. I need to give him a chance, but I don't rate him. I'm not a fan of Edison. That's a big concern for me. Santos, not a big fan of him either. Doesn't fill that number 6 role. Then you've got Scott. Bournemouth, is Scott available? We don't want to sell him this season. And I don't think they will, by the way. Don't want to sell him this season, but we will put a release clause into his contract. You could probably buy him in January or next summer, but it's going to cost you 80 million. But again, it's another player that's not worth that. So then what you're left with, Sanderberg. Oh, yeah, you can have him, but 60 million though. So it's good. It's not good, this. And
it's not good. No, it's not good.
And Micha over there in Germany. Yeah, we want him. Is he available? Not really, but if you want him, 100 and something million, because look at Anderson, look where he's gone for. No. And he's a young player, he's still got a lot of prospects.
We were better off paying for who we wanted, and that's that. Right.
We could have done what Spurs did and said, I mean, I don't know if we would have got Tonali, but we could have done what Spurs did and said, you know what, we're just going to take, okay, you're quibbling over 5 million add-ons, because apparently we offered 80 million plus 5 million in add-ons. Spurs have said 85 million up front. We could have just said, right, scratch that. We'll do 85 as well. We'll match you. Fernandes, where do you want to go? Your idol's here. We're in the Champions League. Where do you want to go? If you still pick Spurs, then there's a different problem going on. But if we offer the package...
For all we know, that could have been offered, and it got put down to speaking to the managers, because the player's confirmed he's spoken to De Zerbi. He's not confirmed he's spoken to Carrick, because maybe professionally he doesn't want to highlight that, right?
Yeah.
But for all we know, both offers were matched. Maybe United's wages were slightly lower, and that's played a part in it. We can't ignore that, we can't ignore that, right? And I'm not going to put this... But quite frankly, he could have had a conversation with both managers, and, Carrick could have spoke to him for 10 minutes and said a bunch of nothing for 10 minutes, and De Zerbi could have spoke to him for 2 minutes and showed him the passion, showed him the vision, showed him everything he needed to know. And that's just
what I'm sure that's what would have happened. And that doesn't work for every player, but there is players that will lose because of that. And that shows it straight away. And there's certain players that are, they're all motivated by different things, obviously, but some players it's money, some players it's playing time, some players it's philosophy, some players it's like, oh, I'd love to play for Pep because how he sees football and stuff like that. So everybody's got different sort of passions and sort of motivations. And I think in this case, it could be purely that I love Bruno, but Bruno won't be there forever. I want to go somewhere where I know I'll play in a system that's going to work for me, and etc. and so forth. Obviously, there's a London pull as well, but you've got to throw in some extra things when you're a coach. And I think,
but here's the point, Dad.
Strangely, as you said earlier, had the pull.
Had more pull, but here's the point. Let's say we do have Luis Enrique in charge. He calls Fernandes and says, "Hey, excuse me, I don't even need to explain to you the project. I want you."
No questions asked. Yeah, no questions asked.
So anyone saying to me that I'm not looking at the money or looking at the wages, for me, our current manager does not have pull.
But also, on top of that, why is Spurs paid that? De Zerbi. So again, De Zerbi's convinced Spurs enough to say, if I keep you up, you must back me. And if you don't back me, I walk.
Yeah. Well, and Carrick should have had the balls to say, if I get you top four, you need to back me. But instead,
it's not that type of person, though, is it?
It's at Wimbledon.
Yeah. Hi, guys, I'm relaxed. All you get is relax. We're not rushing.
I'm a
model
professional.
We don't care what the fans say. We're relaxed. We've got a plan in place. What's your fucking plan, Ineos? Because it's not looking very good right now. Your first choice, Anderson, been linked to him for a long, long time. City just come in and pay the fee. And apparently that was another thing. Apparently we offered, if this is true, we see you as a future captain, Anderson. How does that fit for you? But is that it? Again, who's sort of smoothing, sort of like romancing him in a sense. Who's doing that? Because again, I think Maresca would have more pull than Carrick. So
for me, our manager needs to have boots on the ground too in transfers. You can't just. And maybe we've spoken in the past and kind of said, managers can't have veto on transfers. It needs to be a team effort. But a team effort, manager needs to have his boots on the ground and have conversations with these players. And when I see my manager at Wimbledon waving at the flipping crowd,
and that's what you're doing. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to see that. It's a bit like when a player does something similar. You've just lost a FA Cup final, and then the partying in London.
I'm consistent.
You can party. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
I don't
want to see Carrick at Wimbledon.
Last summer, I made a video. This is when I started YouTube, and that's probably the video that did quite well right off the bat for me. I made a video on Euro and Mainu that they were out fucking partying, showing their shopping, showing their chains, doing fuck all. Your club's nearly got relegated, and you're out here posting on Instagram that you're partying. Yeah.
I don't like that.
I will remain consistent. I don't like seeing my fucking manager at Wimbledon when our transfer window's shit.
If we've got the summer that Spurs have got so far, I don't mind Carrick at Wimbledon.
I don't care what you do at Wimbledon.
Fernandez through the door, I've got Tonali through the door.
That's it.
And I've got others on ice ready to go.
All three of those transfers.
Ready to go.
All three of those transfers.
We haven't even got Edison over the line yet. And this fucker's at Wimbledon.
And he's at Wimbledon in his best fucking tailored suit. I ain't interested in seeing it. I ain't interested in seeing it. It pisses me off. And what examples does that set for the rest of the players?
But I also think and I also think we're behind the curve because I agreed at some point. I saw the vision in let's not let the coach decide. Let's do it as a sport.
I see the vision in that, but it's got to be a team effort.
But are we not behind that curve now? Because you look at it now, it's like I don't think Chelsea are going to do that now. I think Alonso's going to have a big say because they've messed up doing that. I don't think Arsenal are doing that now. I think Arteta has a big say. I know they've got Berta there that's really a really good sporting director, but I think Arteta has a big say there. City, I don't think they're doing it as much because they trust Pep quite a lot, and I think they'll put some trust in Maresca. So I think some of the bigger sides, and Spurs are definitely not doing it. So I think the bigger sides, and Eddie Howe has a lot to do with it at Newcastle.
Back the other way now.
It's going back the other way where we're going the way they were going. They're all going back the other way now. So we're behind the curve. Liverpool aren't as strong with it either. They're not as strong. And I think Iriola would have more pull than Carrick. So I just think we're behind the curve on that one.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
We'll have to see how it pans out.
I've got to rush off, and I'm sure.
No, me too.
To summarise, I think the only successful phone call that Michael Carrick seems to be having is Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, and he's got Paul
for
me. Marcus back in.
For me, that tells you all you need to know. And obviously, Michael, he always gives us a different perspective. He says he's on holiday more of a Carrick as a head coach, while Zerbi as a manager. Remember, they're in big bucks. So, Michael, why is Carrick having phone calls with Marcus Rashford? I don't know if it's confirmed, but that's what I've read. Why is Carrick having a veto? Why is Carrick having a veto on Marcus Rashford if he doesn't have a veto on the other stuff? You know what I mean? Anyway, I could be here for another hour, but I appreciate your perspective, and I know you wanted Iriola. But for me, I've said all I need to say. Dan has also. I will try to be back tonight to review the Portugal-Spain game because it could be the end of the World Cup for me, or we could be kicking on to verse USA or Belgium. Soon see. I've got to head off. It's been emotional in the emotion room. That will be me out for doing emotion rooms for about 3 weeks now. So please head over to Dan Talks United. Hopefully he can try and fit a show in and around this time or in the evening on Mondays on his channel to kind of make up for missing our show. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Like I said, I'll try and be back tonight to do a review of the Portugal game. But thanks, Dan, for joining me as always. It's been emotional. Catch you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much, Michael, also.